y'all just shut up as soon as I said that. That's crazy. Everybody just shut up as soon as I said that.
Because no one wants to sound awkward as hell before you
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He said, I don't want.
Oh wow, that's hate, right?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What did I do, man? What did I do? What did I do?
Oh my god. All right.
Anyway,
I want to hit y'all with something real quick before we start on the topics. All right.
Yeah.
Can y'all name the NBA leading scorers for the 2010s? I got the list in front of me right now. It's top 10.
for the 2010s, like each
The 2010s.
I want to say 2019 is Harden.
No. Not like by year. I'm saying like top 10, like in totality of that entire decade.
One KD.
Oh,
one
Kevin
LeBron.
Durant. Kevin Durant's one of them.
KD was second. Yes.
LeBron's number one.
James Harden's in there.
Yeah.
He's third. Yes.
Kyrie's 10th, I guess.
Nope. Kyrie's not in there.
Steph is in there.
Steph's fifth.
He's fifth. Oh, I was genuinely surprised when he said that.
I'm trying to think who else is in here. Steph.
Dame?
Dame is not in here. No.
Wow.
He only really started coming out later on.
Yeah.
Is Klay Thompson in there?
Nope.
Jimmy role player?
Jimmy Butler's not in here. No.
Jimmy Butler started late.
Yeah.
Who's a good another person that
DeMar
DeRozan is seventh. Yes.
Yeah, DeRozan should be in there because when he was in Toronto,
I can't believe y'all are forgetting. Y'all haven't Bradley Beal. No.
John Wall?
Nope.
No. John Wall and Bradley Beal, they are definitely not in there.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge is sixth.
There.
Zeba.
Kawhi Leonard.
Nope. Come on, you got four more names.
Yeah, I'm running it down.
What? It can't be Westbrook.
There's no point. But
wait, Westbrook's in that thing?
Yeah,
Westbrook's fourth. Westbrook's ahead of Steph.
All right, so we already said KD, Westbrook.
AD's in there.
KD's second. Yeah.
No, AD.
No, AD's not in here.
No, AD's not in there. I want to say.
Nope. Dwight Howard's not in here.
I want to say Joe Johnson, but
nope. Joe Johnson is not in here.
D Wade.
Wade is ninth. There we go. All right, we got
Wade's in
for
there.
real. Yeah, Wade's ninth. Well, because you got to remember, Wade retired in 2019, so he's still.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I constantly think he's just gone since like 2014.
Yeah,
that's why I remember. Okay, cool, fair enough. Chris Bosh?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Wow, what the fuck? Okay, never mind then. Cooked.
There's a nigga here that like he's synonymous with scoring.
Oh, Melo, my bad. Yeah, Melo.
like what? Melo's 8. Melo's 8.
Melo had like I think 2 scoring titles in that time period.
Nah, but you gotta remember he didn't start slowing down like from Melo's level of scoring until like 2016.
Yeah,
and even still, he was still giving you like 18 points per game.
How many more? Oh, CP3.
You got one more.
CP3.
No.
Wow.
You're close.
Like,
you're close. You're close.
What? Shoot. Jamal Crawford.
No. What?
Hey, look. When he was with the Clippers, he was cooking.
You said what?
Is it the BBL himself?
Lowry. Shut up. No, he should get kicked off just for saying that.
Oh wow.
Nah, it ain't Mr. BBL, bro.
Both y'all should get kicked off for saying that. For those who don't know who
Come on, you gonna get kicked off too? You gonna kick TikTok?
I ain't saying it. For those of y'all who don't know who that is, that's Kyle Lowry.
Nah, he's not on there. He's not on there.
Yeah. We said Melo and Carmelo.
Y'all are. What's crazy is you were close by saying CP3 though.
Blake? No, it couldn't be Blake Griffin. I refuse to believe it. It is
Blake 10. Griffin. What?
Blake Griffin's 10.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah. Bron is first, KD's second, Harden's third, Russ is fourth, Curry's fifth, LaMarcus Aldridge is sixth. That took me for a loop. DeMar's seventh, Melo's eighth, D Wade's ninth, and Blake Griffin's 10th. But yeah. What a fun way to start off the show. Chad, we just got to see how much basketball they know, man. We question it sometimes, so it's nice to get some affirmation. I tell you what, though, Daryl's basketball is still in question right now with that Jamal Crawford question. They said Jamal Crawford like that was supposed to be like a no-brainer. Hell, he gonna be in the top 10 of anything.
I mean, when he was with the Clippers, he was putting up some points.
He really wasn't. It felt like it, but he really wasn't. He wasn't.
The next one he was gonna come up with was Lou Williams.
Probably. Chicken wing.
Actually, it wasn't. Yeah. It really wasn't.
Lemon pepper Lou, man.
Anyway,
it really wasn't.
Anyway, welcome to the show. All right, we're on episode 4. Damn, we done made a month of doing this. Surviving. But today we're gonna be talking. About top 15 shooting guards. We're talking about CP3 versus Steve Nash, and why CP3 is a better player than Steve Nash. We're going to be talking about the offseason, of course, our tradition, and we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers in that offseason segment. But first off, we're going to start with Zeno. Zeno, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm just chilling.
How's your week been?
It's been kind of underproductive. I've actually started to get more productive by the end of the week, so that's cool.
Oh, we got some comments. Hold on real quick.
Yeah, I was speaking to him a bit earlier.
Who said
Melo?
Oh, yeah, he was screaming out Melo doing it in the chat. He also said Chris Paul, same as you.
Yeah, Christopher Paul.
Yeah, but no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for y'all. I'm sorry for y'all.
No, because he's consistently scoring like 20 to 22 points in a regular season.
No, he's not.
He is in a regular season during that time. Yes, he was. I actually checked for myself.
Yeah, check for sure because I don't remember him up into like 20.
From 20 is from 10 to 20. Okay, sorry. No, you're right. It's 18.
Yeah, he was hovering around 18. I think 20 was like the high mark, but that's about it.
No, he's never hit 20 during his Clippers years. Really.
Yeah.
The only time he hit 20 was in New Orleans. I was just before he tore his ACL.
Yeah. All right. So, Daryl, how's your week going? Well, how's your week going?
Work is work. Get yelled at by a couple customers. Threatened a couple times. Same as usual. Selling sneakers. I actually did quit officiating basketball though.
What?
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. I was enjoying it, but that whole thing of getting paid $30 a game and they got me driving to a whole different state and not paying for my gas was that was wearing me out. And on top of that, you gotta get yelled at. It's AAU season, so you get yelled at by parents 24/7 that don't play basketball or think they know basketball.
When they're casual.
And then coming to work. Yeah, basically the casuals.
Just like top right.
Yep, like Justin, a casual. So he would fit right in with them. So casuals, and then go to my next job and get yelled at by customers because they ain't happy about their shoes. So, it is what it is.
I tell you what, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Congratulations to my boy Daryl for moving up, man. He made a boss move. He said, "I'm gonna stop working for the man, and I'm gonna start being the man and working for the other man." Anyway, all right. So we're gonna
basically.
That was it. That's crazy.
Dang.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our first topic of the show. All right, we're gonna be talking about top 15 shooting guards. All right, so this the way this is going, I don't know if you guys were able to tap in last week, but we're gonna go down the list of 1, 2, and 3. So if Daryl starts, he'll give player 1. Zeno will give player 2. I'll give player 3, and it will follow that order until we get to 15. So we'll basically essentially be doing it 5 times. All right, so I did a randomizer earlier, and unfortunately for y'all, I get first dibs, and then second is going to be Daryl, third is going to be Zeno.
Of course, the youngest gets the last.
He didn't do no randomizer. He wanted to just talk first.
No, I did do a randomizer. I did a randomizer for sure. I can show you the evidence. Actually, yeah. Since you want to do that to me, yeah. Yeah. Go back to it.
Young Christopher Paul.
Young Christopher Paul is crazy. Yeah, since well, bro, we don't got enough time in the show for to do all of this. We don't got all the time for.
Yes, we do. We have all the time in the world.
We really don't though.
Okay.
I prefer not to do this to Daryl because I like Daryl, right? And I prefer not to make him.
The thing is, he's stolen the time, but
yeah, I prefer not to mess up, your cachet. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, but yeah. When are you going to start with number 1 and finally put up the Devin Booker?
All right, all right, bastard. All right. So first on my list, I don't think it should be much of a debate right now. I think number 1 spot should go to Devin Booker. I think after the last 2 or 3 seasons, I think he's built up a sizable gap against guys like Klay Thompson, especially while he was dealing with his ACL tear. Devin Booker really started putting in work, and as of late, he's built a gap between him and Donovan Mitchell, who
finally being those D Mitch allegations.
Yeah, because I think at first it was like both of them are offensively gifted, so it was like it's a really it's a toss up on who you would want. But Devin Booker's been ramping it up so much defensively over the last 2 years, quiet as kept, that I don't think it's much of a discussion right now, especially after what you saw with Donovan Mitchell against the New York Knicks, getting torched the way he was on the defensive end, whereas Devin Booker in the playoffs was putting forth some of the best defensive, plays that we have seen in a long time, from a guard. And so I think what who
I think
when I say in a long time, I'm talking like 4 to 5 years. So that's since 2018. And since 2018, who was playing defense on ball at the same level?
Who was he guarding in this season?
Okay.
Think about this season. Who was he guarding?
Well, this specific season, it was mainly Westbrook. He guarded Kawhi for some.
No, he wasn't.
What does that sound?
That was Torrey Craig, and I
don't know.
It's Torrey.
That's not me.
That's not me.
Sure. Is it me? Wait, give me a second.
That was him.
That's not me.
Daryl, that's you.
How?
It dead ass is you, Daryl.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Yo, Mike farting, boy.
Yeah, I know what's wrong with your mic, but who was he
Okay.
guarding?
If you argue that Drew Holiday or the likes of those players play better defense, like on ball defense, then fair enough. That's fine.
There.
That's not even
But-
what I'm arguing. I'm asking you straight up. Who was he guarding?
He was guarding Westbrook.
Okay. Who's
Uh,
clearly a worse version, who's nowhere near offensively talented.
Fair enough, but
the other
fair
guard.
enough. But the
Yes.
rim pressure he was able to create on the Phoenix Suns, like,
That's mainly because they don't have perimeter defenders to keep up with him.
but he wasn't able to impact after like game 2 though.
That's I would attribute it more for his lack of rim touch than really being not able to blow by Devin Booker, because I'm pretty sure he was able to really get by Devin Booker, not at will, but it was quite consistently. He just couldn't finish at the rim. Plus, also, when you do know that someone's going to get to a certain spot, and that's like pretty much everything they can do, it's way easier to game plan for that than, for example, a player that can shoot in the mid range also. So that even if you do try and attack the rim,
I mean, that's fair.
Why I'm explaining to you is I kind of disagree in the sense that I think he played solid defense or maybe good defense in the playoffs. I don't think it was anywhere near as much you're trying to hype it. I don't believe it.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's the best or he's top 5 defender, at the guard spot, but I think what he's done defensive, like what the improvement he's made, he's improved himself to a great defender. I'm not saying he's a top 5 defender, but to be a great defender, like being great at some category on the defensive end, he's great on ball. And I mean, you can't take that away from him. And off ball, he's not nearly as bad as he used to be.
I think it's just me and you kind of disagree, because I just think he's like solid to maybe a bit above average.
But we can agree he's far better defensively than Donovan.
Than he used to be. Yes, I agree with that.
I'm saying he's far better defensively than Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Okay. All right. But that being said, Devin Booker, who was fighting for a top 3 spot, is now solidified as the best shooting guard, has been for the last 2 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, because I secretly believe this year he's going to take yet another step in the direction of forget about competing for being the best shooting guard. He's going to be competing for being in the top 5 conversations. And I seriously believe that, because quiet as kept, I'm really looking at Luka with a side eye, and I'm looking to see if he can offer just a little bit more. And if Devin Booker makes the jump that I think he's going to make and Luka stays the same, we seriously going to have to think about that.
No, I would have to ask you, what do you see in Booker's game that you can see that he could get better?
I think Devin Booker, damn, he just okay. All right. I think Devin Booker's shot creation, I think his playmaking is taking a step in the right direction. Again, going back to defense, I think his defense is taking a step in the right direction. And I think the jump that I think he's going to make is more playmaking wise. So if he's as good, you said it again?
I'd agree with you with that one. Yeah.
Okay. So I think so when it comes to Luka, right? So when it comes to Luka, I love the offensive package that he brings from the standpoint of how much he impacts the game on the offensive side, right? But even still, we always have to lament how bad or how negative of a defender he is, right? So if Devin Booker cannot stack up to Luka because of his offensive, what he brings to the table offensively, but Devin Booker, without a question, is a better defender than him, and then he's able to close that gap playmaking wise, albeit slightly. I think, and mixing that in with the level of consistency that Devin Booker has been playing at for the last 2 to 3 years, I think there's going to have to be a serious conversation as to, well, is Luka really impacting the game as much as Devin Booker when Luka is not doing what Devin Booker is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, losing that much does have to come in a part of critiquing. Because this would be the third year, I believe, the third year that if Luka does not get out of the first round, which I don't think any of us believe him to get out of the first round with this roster. If he doesn't get out of the first round and he just plays mediocre from the standpoint of he's excellent offensively, but defensively he's so much of a
negative
that you can't help but to say that had to be a part of the reason that they lost. Whereas Devin Booker is playing better than the player that we all recognize to be better than him right now, and Kevin Durant. I mean, can we really sit there and deny Devin Booker for much longer?
I think that the only way you can say that thought process is Luka not progressing and D-Book progressing, which I sit down and think, who is more likely to progress? The 24-year-old who's still trying to find his own way and actually having a team built around him, or a older player who's still able to have some type of growth spurts. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say here is I think Luka is more likely to have a bigger growth because the things that he needs to do to get better is way easier to be better at than Devin Booker. You're telling Devin Booker essentially to be able to be better at advanced passes to create better advantages.
You were trying to say better advanced advantage creator.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And that's harder to do than be better off ball. So move around. By
the way, Luka's 24, Devin Booker's only 26, so it's not like he's old.
Fair enough. But it's easier for you to learn to move off of ball way more, especially when you have a history of doing that. Luka has history of doing that in the EuroLeague. And it's also easier to buy in on the defensive end when you get more defensive pieces, which actually the Mavs has been trying to look for. So I'll say to you, plus you actually have a secondary player for you right now, and you're going into the next season. I think when he's actually able to really put that effort in, he's gonna be able to put in more effort on the defensive end because he's not carrying that much of a load on the offensive end, and all he needs to do is move more. So I don't know what to say to you, but I just don't see a notion where Booker could actually be pushing into the top 10 because you specifically said Luka, meaning that you don't think he's not going to be better than Steph, Jokic, Giannis, and who's the fourth for you?
Okay. Yeah. So it's Giannis, Jokic, Curry, Luka, Embiid. No. Yeah. That's how it is.
So you think he could be better than Embiid as well? Mm-hmm. Why?
I mean, but you also know how low I am on it.
Is it specifically playoffs then?
You know how low I am on Embiid when it comes to important games. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. That's the only way I can see it because in the regular season, Embiid plays like he's a monster. Like there's on
absolutely. If we're strictly talking regular season, I think Joel Embiid has a case to be the third best player. Or the second,
I think he has the straight up. I was gonna say second. I think it's
he has a case to be the second.
I think he has a relatively weak argument to be the best, but he has a stronger argument to be the second and third best player.
Yeah,
but
when it comes to the playoff, the drop off is so. But again, when it comes to Devin Booker, again, he is a phenomenal shot creator.
Yep,
he is very efficient for the shots that he is forced to take. Like when I say forced, it's not forced upon him by the defense, it's forced upon him by his own team because his team is not his team, especially this year, was not Let Deal Cook says Embiid is top 5 at the worst. I agree. I think he's top 5. I think he's top 5 and I think he's 5th. mainly due to the production dropping off so significantly, routinely in the playoffs.
Okay.
Devin Booker is a shot creator. Is amazing. I think as a passer, he still has room to grow, and I would bet that he would improve this year, if not any other year, because of the lack of a point guard that they have. So he would be forced to be the playmaker because you're not going to have KD in with that responsibility. And I don't think they're going to give the responsibility to Bradley Beal as much as they are to Devin Booker. And then I think he's already better than any of the other two guards that he'll be going up against.
I think it's mainly because then it would have to be that you're high on him progressing as an advantage creator. I'm less high on him progressing as an advantage creator.
I don't think that he'll be, I don't think that he'll ever touch Luka in that sense. I just think he can get close enough to where his impact can be coming from scoring, playmaking, defense, whereas Luka is coming exclusively from his playmaking and scoring.
But I feel like Luka's like generational level playmaking while being maybe not hyper efficient. He's trolling, by the way. He's trolling, by the way.
I know.
He may not be like a highly efficient scorer, but the fact that his scoring is still resilient in the playoffs, it's also like I don't see the issue with that. But I do understand. I do get your point. You're essentially saying if Luka doesn't progress as much this year, and whatever you said for Booker happens for him, you can see a situation where he gets over. I just don't think it's realistic. But yeah, I think we spoke too much about D-Book.
Well, shit. To be honest with you, I don't hear people talk nearly enough about Devin Booker, so I'm all for talking about him.
Yeah, he already beat that D-Mitch allegations, man. That's all I need to know.
Facts.
Yeah, you're all about people talking about Cam Reddish too, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Wow, we don't need to hear that fraud. Daryl, it's time for you. It's time for you to say number 2, who's SGA, right?
All right, y'all gonna stop playing with my boy Cam Reddish head top. All right, I'm getting off the camera because y'all finna piss me off. Go on, Daryl. Go on.
All right, so you says my turn.
Yeah,
we doing like shooting guards like today.
Shooting guards right now. Your top 15 shooting guards right now.
Or you could do it like going into next season. It's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
we should do it like that.
Guards is right now going into next season.
Yeah.
Hold on, Daryl. Before you say that, we got another chat. Paul George, go to JJ says Paul George, elite playmaking while having elite scoring talent and playoff resiliency makes him top 10.
Playoff resiliency is
playoff resiliency in Paul George.
When's the last time you reached the playoffs?
Elite scoring and Paul George going hand in hand is crazy.
No, respect his scoring. The only thing with him is that he's too pull-up reliant.
He's for real right now.
No. I mean, dead ass.
His scoring is elite. His scoring is elite
because he's an actual true 3-point. It was called 3-level scorer. And the only issue with Paul George is that he's too reliant on.
Is he efficient in the playoffs?
Yes, he is.
He's efficient in the playoffs.
Look at 2021.
No. Because that's an outlier. It's an outlier.
Okay.
True or false? Is that true or false? Is that that efficiency that you're speaking going? One, not mediocre, and then two, is it not a product of one series, which is that Utah Jazz series?
Pretty sure he played well in the Sun series too, but
I could check, but
I'm almost saying
in that series,
the main reason.
In that series, did he not miss like 2 game clinching like free throws?
Yeah, it was free throws, and he missed a game winning 3 as well, and that's the only reason why he never reached the finals. But respect my friend, my goat, Paul George too. But while we on Paul George conversations, SGA too. Right,
wait, are we putting him as a shooting guard as well?
What?
Are we putting Paul George as a shooting guard?
Yeah, because Kawhi is a small forward.
That's fair. I just wanted to know.
Wait, time for you to put up SGA now.
I got Anthony Edwards. That's who I got. Justin, why are you making that look?
Ain't that a little too high for him?
What?
Ain't that a little too high for him?
D-Mitch just shaked his head when you just said that.
He just rolled over his grave.
You said today. I believe Anthony Edwards. You guys just said it was my number 2 pick. First of all,
no, I didn't. I said who is your second best shooting guard right now?
Oh, my second best.
Or you could do it. Can we do right now or going into next season?
Well, obviously, if you're choosing right now, it's the off season. So you're.
I mean, like when I mean going into next season, I mean like okay, what you expect to be when you're in that season, right? Like in the season, you're expecting.
But even still, is Anthony Edwards going to be better than Donovan Mitchell next season?
I actually think he has.
Yes, I believe so.
To be fair, he has the ability.
Why?
Playmaking can take a leap. His mid-range can take a leap as well.
Oh God!
No, look what he's did.
I think Devin. Now, be real with you. D. Mitch's playmaking has essentially taken is plateauing. I don't think there's going to be any real.
No, I think he peaked. I think he peaked this season.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be more any like progression as a playmaker for D. Mitch. I think the progression for him as a scorer is probably going to be being less reliant on 3-point shooting, and trying to attack the rim way more. Also, use his mid range more often as well, when he's not able to hit the get to the rim. I just think that Anthony Edwards, he's already one of the best like rim finishers right now as a guard. He's also a decent 3-point shooter. All he needs to do now is have a good in-between game, and he's essentially a 3-level scorer who's one of the best rim finishers, great in transition, and then he just needs to get better playmaking-wise. I think that's the only... Even if he doesn't get better as a scorer, I'd be dead serious with you. If he becomes like... What's a playmaker that I would say is like great, Jimmy Butler level of playmaker? I think he instantly like gets into these conversations as like, who is he the best point shooting guard? But I think right now, there's like 2 shooting guards above him. But
and plus 2, like here's how I look at it too. Like pretty much Zeno basically said everything I was about to say. But what I got to add to it as well is like look at what he's changed since he's been to Minnesota. Like look how that franchise looks now. They went for, I think, pretty much going a whole decade with not even going to the playoffs. And then, well, I mean, they did with Jimmy Butler, but I mean, they got swept. But I'm saying like they've been to the playoffs twice with him since he's been there, and he's made like he's done a tremendous shift to that organization. We all know that Timberwolves suck, yes, but with his playmaking ability and his scoring, it's actually helped that organization. So you can't just go and say, okay, he doesn't belong up there.
He doesn't. Like, I just said it. He doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be in a top 3 conversation. Maybe 5th if it in the top 5.
I'd say about 4.
Fourth, depending on who we're leaving out of that, like who we're leaving off, like when it comes to my mind. Okay, fine. But even still, like he's like 5th in my book and like sitting solidly at like 5th.
We said coming into the season.
Because here's the thing. He is a great finisher, but outside of that, you admitted that he is an average shooter, right? He's an average shooter.
I wouldn't say he's an average shooter. I'd say he's a good shooter.
He's an average shooter. No. Come on, bro.
Defensively on high volume.
Say it again.
He's like shooting 37% on high volume. How's that an average shooter?
He's 37%.
Yes.
Last I checked, he was like 36. No, that was like 36 or 30. Like it was like 35, but you could round up to 36.
No, it was 36.9, which is 37% on 7.3 attempts. Like respect his 3-point shooting. It's been progressing every year that he's been in this league. You're thinking about his last year, which was 35.7.
That's what I was about to say. The last time I looked at it, but
yeah, which was 2 years ago.
And plus, you just said
that was in the year that they played.
You said 2 years ago, nigga. That was a year ago. What are we talking about?
I mean, like the Grizzlies when he was playing against the Grizzlies, that year is when it was 35.
Yeah, that was a year ago.
Yeah, this year it was 37% on 7 attempts. Respect his 3-point shooting.
Aberration.
It's actually
aberration because on top of that, he's a mid free throw shooter. So him getting to the rim that much, like when you're getting to the rim that much, but you're shooting 75.6% from the free throw line, like I would like you to shoot a little bit higher than that. I think he's I will give you this. I think he is one of the better rebounders in the shooting guard category than all of these guys, and that's even including D-Book. I don't even think his rebounding stats tell like the complete the complete story on him, because he has the fundamental like ability of rebounding. He's very good at boxing out, and his attacking on the boards to get it is like, to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to hype him up to be like him, but it reminds me of Westbrook in the younger days of how he attacked the boards.
About how he can just get the boards and go in transition.
Say it again.
How he can just grab boards and go straight into transition if he wanted to.
That is well, but more so of anything, how he comes out of nowhere, right? Where he's on the other side of the court, and the ball goes up and it's a miss, and he flashes there. It's like where did, like, he wasn't even involved in the play and he's getting active. So from that standpoint, I will give him credit for that. But even still, I think defensively, I think it's slightly overrated and inconsistent. I think playmaking wise, I think he has a lot of room to grow. Like we were talking earlier about Devin Booker and how, he has to develop for him to get, to become, a good enough passer to compete with Luka. Anthony Edwards got work to get to Devin Booker's level of passing. So that's not anything to like write home about. So I when it comes to Anthony Edwards, I think that he is a solid scorer overall. I think he is a bad playmaker and a solid defender. And that's not moving me enough to put you in the 2, especially when you have a player in Donovan Mitchell who's a far superior scorer, who at this point in their careers, he is a superior playmaker. I do not see Anthony Edwards making that jump as a playmaker this year to be competing with Donovan Mitchell on that level. And then defensively, okay, he can have it, but is it impacting at the same level that Donovan Mitchell is scoring wise? I think not. So
I also want to say, firstly, one in the playoffs, he lost Jalen McDaniels, which if you was watching, you watched during the regular season, how the tandem of Jalen McDaniels and
Anthony Edwards,
what's called closing in the late closing minutes, was just like they were just closing and just clamping down players. So losing one of your essentially your tag team partner, when it's that's like how you guys work and function, is really painful for their defense. I think Anthony Edwards during the regular season, I agree with you, he was a bit overrated defensively, because he would turn it on certain times, and you could see when he's turned on, he is a menace on that defensive end. He's short, but he's strong, so that you can't push him off his spots. He can go over screens, so he's not a liability when it comes to screen navigation. He can slide his hips well, so you can't blow by him that well as well. But sometimes he's like lazy and he's prone to getting back cut as well when he's not really engaged. So I agree with you. But when it comes into the playoffs, I feel like when he was in the playoffs, he was way more engaged, and there was way less times that he was getting prone to back cuts or bad defensive positioning or bad defensive plays, rather than like in the regular season. So I think in the playoffs, he rose essentially. But I still think we're talking too much about Anthony Edwards. The person next that I'm going to pick, who I think should have been above Anthony Edwards, was SGA. So for me, SGA is at 3. I'm not gonna lie to you. SGA has been needing this type of love for the past 2-3 seasons. SGA quietly has been progressing as one of the league's quietly, and I'll say again, quietly is like the league's best rim finisher at this point in time. Outside of Giannis and Zion, the SGA is like he is so clinical when it comes to getting to the rim. He has so many different ways to stop turns, the different dribble combinations, his slippery footwork, the way he can evade defenders, even take some charges and not take some charges, take some contacts to attack the rim. He even flow the game. He has everything in his arsenal when it comes to attacking the rim. It actually even shows in his 0 to 3 feet percentage. I'm gonna check for it right now, but it's like at one of the best levels that you can see for a guard. Let me check for you right now as I'm speaking. Yeah, so this year it's 67%, 67%, so 68% essentially. But he's attacking the rim so consistently, and I'm sorry, the things that SGA has been doing with this team with not much spacing, Josh Giddey being his point guard, so he's not going to get spacing from there. Having inconsistent spacing from Lou Dort as well, and just how his roster around him isn't the best, but he's still able to drag that roster to nearly actually being in the playoffs in general. That mid range is also like it's very consistent. It's not like a fake type of mid range as well. He's shooting that very efficiently as well. I think the only issue with SGA as a scorer is specifically his 3-point shooting, which he even took lower attempts this year because he was just focusing on trying to get to the mid range and to the free throw, not to the free throw line, to the rim. He took, I think, 2.3 attempts this year and shot 34%, which at least he took it down, his attempts right down, and he.
What are you talking about from the 3-point line?
Huh?
Yeah, he took 2.5 attempts this year.
So he took 2.5 attempts and shot essentially 35%. At least he knew what his strengths was, so he decided to focus on that.
I agree.
He needs to really get back to being able to shoot efficiently from the free throw line. Like
you want to know what's the biggest? You want to know what the biggest head scratcher is with that, Zeno?
Mm-hmm.
He shoots 90% from the free throw line, and
I want to bring up,
I love, I love like I love getting at people that think like that all basketball is supposed to be like the same for every single player. But the one thing I gotta agree with like this little thing, this notion that people have is if you're good at the free throw line, you should be pretty good all around the court from a shooting standpoint. So it always scratches my head how you're good at the free throw line, you're phenomenal mid-range wise, but 3-point range, like you struggle. And truth be told, he only has 1 year to his name that he didn't struggle from the 3-point line, and that was the 2020-2021 season.
Yeah, which he played only 35 games. So
he only played 35 games, so it was a small sample size. So like I don't know. That's a question. So I don't have much of pushback. I think Donovan Mitchell should be ahead, but even in SGA's case, I'm not really mad at it because of how phenomenal his scoring was for this Oklahoma City team. Like people forget.
I also want to add in, he's quietly also had one of the greatest free throw seasons in that we've ever seen. Being able to get to the free throw line 10.9 times and convert them at a 90.5% free throw rate is unheard of. I think that's literally the most efficient free throw season at the.
Doesn't Steph have a Steph has some?
Steph has never had a season where it's like 9 or 10.
What about Harden?
I think Steph has had around that 9 season.
But if we're comparing volume,
yeah,
with completion,
That's what I'm saying.
think Harden might
And
have
the
some.
volume that he has, no one has ever been as efficient because Steph Curry has never took 6.5 free throws, and James Harden is like consistently shooting like 85%. Like he's not as close as you think he is. Yeah, when James Harden hit like 10.9, it was 84%. Like he's usually hovering around what like for like a I want to say so and essentially he's been hovering around 86-87% when he's
Let me ask you this: do you think it's sustainable?
Do you think it's sustainable?
Yeah, do you think that is sustainable? Shay's.
I don't think I think he peaks as a 3-3 shooter. I think this is his peak, but I think he's going to be around this level. It won't be at 95, but I wouldn't be surprised if it drops down to like 88, 89. Because I'm sorry, man, if he does this another season,
I think best case scenario, I think it drops down to like 85, 86. Because I mean he's a career 84%. Like this 90% free throw shooter sort of padded his like career stats a little bit. Because like other than this year, despite this year,
he's like an 80%.
About like 80.5%.
Yeah.
From the free throw line. So like it's really not like it's not as phenomenal as you would think, but credit to him. He upped the volume and he completed at an all-time level. So I will give you that. Also, this is my second question. Given how good he is, like how you just stated, what is the explanation for what happened in the play-in tournament this year? As far as his performance, not win or losses, as far as his performance, to give Chat a backstory on what I'm speaking about. Shai Gilgeous in Oklahoma City Thunder went up against New Orleans first, and then they went up against the Timberwolves. They beat New Orleans and lost to the Timberwolves. In both games combined, he averaged 27 points, which sounds good on surface, until you also look at the fact that he only converted about 3 assists while collecting 1.5 turnovers. He rebounded well, so he had 6 rebounds, and he was playing solid defense. I'll give him credit for that. But on the offensive side, he shot 39% from the field. He shot 33% from the 3-point line, albeit only on 3 attempts, and he shot 100% from the free throw line. So credit to what you were saying, like he's a phenomenal free throw shooter. But I just wanted to get an explanation for what was the case in your opinion for why Shai struggled efficient wise.
I would essentially say it's probably due to his team. I've always specifically outed the fact that his team, when relative to most of these like top tier players, he's probably in the worst position. I mean, strictly of playing right now, he's probably the worst position in the top 20 maybe in this season right now, because he doesn't have a reliable second star. You don't think
Josh Giddey was reliable?
I mean spacing specifically. He doesn't space.
Oh, okay.
Like think about it, when you look on that team, who on the team reliably spaces the floor?
Oh shit.
Exactly.
I'll be the last person.
The only person that reliably spaces the floor is Isaiah Joe, and Isaiah Joe doesn't even play like the amount of minutes that you think he should to space the floor for SGA. So SGA is always having to essentially do his work in less than optimal. Actually, that's even speaking too nice, in horrible spacing.
Is it? And question, isn't it like funny how like Lou Dortz was supposed to be developing and stuff. He's been shooting like 5 threes a game since he came into the league. Do you know he shoots 33% from the 3-point line?
I know. I'm fully aware.
That's their new Cephalosha, bro. That's their new Cephalosha.
I knew he was inefficient. That's why I was saying that he does not have the team around him. to be like highly efficient. Of course, he's going to be inefficient when you're putting him on a team which has no 3-point shoot, no like consistent 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are leaving these players out. Like Josh Giddey is not going to be a player that you're like, okay, I need to focus on.
Yeah,
Lou Dort isn't someone that you're going to be like, okay, I need to focus on. When your best shooter on your team is a rookie, Jalen Williams and a Kenrich Williams. Or like someone who's actually from the bench is Isaiah Joe, but he doesn't play enough minutes because of the fact that he's a cone on defense. Like, what are you expecting him to be? You can't expect someone with like horrible spacing to be efficient in the playoffs, when playoffs is about taking away your advantages and making you and forcing you to your weaknesses. That's the whole problem. The whole reason of the playoffs is to force the worst optimal, the worst outcome for the opponent for you to win, and they're able to do that because that his team just doesn't shoot well. So of course he's not going to score. Right? That's my reasoning.
No. I think that's a damn good reasoning. I mean, I was watching the game against the Timberwolves, and I just remember looking at Shea and how aggressive he was trying to be in the second half, but he just couldn't get it going because of how they were able to hone in on specifically him and Josh Giddey, because they were the only creators for the team. Everybody else was like exclusively, on standby until they received the ball from those two. And Josh Giddey still have some ways to go when it comes to his creation. So, no, that's a good reasoning. All right, we're gonna move on to the next round. You guys failed me miserably, so I'm going to pick up who you guys refused to, and that is Mitch. Y'all
only Daryl.
No. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Especially you, Daryl. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell is coming off of a career year offensively. I don't think people have truly like sat in and realized the level that Donovan Mitchell just elevated himself to, from a scoring level from what he was in the past 2 years, specifically 3-point shooting wise. This hasn't been done by him in his entire career. Efficiency wise, you can maybe argue, but he ramped it up from a 3-point attempts level. His last year in Utah was a little higher, but he ramped it up from off the dribble 3-point shooting wise, and he converted at a career high level.
This year was probably his peak as a scorer. Yeah,
I agree. And I think but even with his drop off, I think he still can hover around 28, because I think he has a damn good floater still. I think his finishing skills are still great. Yeah, it's still great. I also think his playmaking took a tremendous step in the right direction, not statistically, but the way in which he's able to create now, we did not see in Utah. It was pretty basic.
I just think his kickouts just got better in general. I think that was his main thing that grew.
Yeah, I mean, even with that, like, I've been wondering when he was going to, be more efficient in his passing for a while now. Unfortunately, our former co-host isn't here anymore, but he could testify that for the longest I was sitting here saying Donovan Mitchell, especially in Utah, I didn't know what everybody was seeing in him from the defensive, his defensive lack thereof, defensive like capability.
He had the tools. He
just didn't care. And then playmaking wise, I felt like it was very lackadaisical and very basic. Yeah. And then when I was looking at the scoring, especially what he was doing in the postseason, I was like, bro, like what do y'all see in him? Now, granted, this season, everything I said about Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs still is proven right. So, like, in a way, I'm not like completely pissed at you, Daryl, because Donovan Mitchell is not necessarily in my book of like players I want to be a fan of, because I don't think his game translates, especially at his size, very well to the playoffs. But the kid still got game. I think offensively, he still puts forth. He's putting forth his greatest offensive performance this entire season, especially that 71-point game. Playmaking, he's taking a step. He's taking a step up. Defensively, he actually gave a fuck this year, and that says a lot. I like him.
I mean, that happens when you have guys around you that are better than the team you previously were for. You see how their game contributes, so you start to step yours up more.
Okay, but this is I just gotta ask you a question there. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers truly better than what the Utah Jazz were?
I'd say collectively, yes. I'd say that there's certain
they
stuff.
Are better.
I do not feel. I feel like their starting five is better,
yes.
But after that.
And the only reason I would even say that for you and where you're saying that is specifically their wing depth, the small forward depth. That is the biggest weakness of the Cavs, and I'm waiting for them to really try and fisher it up. I think they did actually.
They tried to with They tried to because they just got Max Strus.
Yes,
is that really moving you though, Zeno?
I'll be real with you. If Max Strus is able to actually defend at a good level, I think it does move me. The issue with D Mitchell, and you saw in the playoffs, is that team was very slanted to its defense, because when it came to the small forwards is either Cedi Osman, who is a shooter but isn't like particularly great with it and is bad on defense, Dean Wade, who isn't really bad on any side, or what's his name? Okoro, who's like a great defender, but he's a non-spacer, which is an issue when your power forward is also a non-spacer and your center
is also a non-spacer.
Exactly. So the issue was for the Cavs is that whenever D-Book and D-Book was on the court, D-Mitch and Garland was off the court, he's literally being spaced. He's literally playing the game with 4-0, like almost always 3 players that cannot space the floor. Like this is like 1990s type of offense. Like he can't constantly try and attack the rim when there's going to be 3 or 4 people in the paint with him. Like that's why he just couldn't consistently score.
And that's fair enough. I think, but when I speak about Donovan Mitchell drop off from the playoffs, I mainly speak on how bad he gets exposed as a bad defender, right?
Yeah.
And then also his playmaking skills, albeit this year, I give him an excuse because I agree with you. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers this year was so bad of a spacing group for him. Mm-hmm. It was like damn near impossible to look at him and say that he should still be able to get it done with the same level of efficiency as he did in the regular season. I think the regular season, as much as I just gave him credit for his his fantastic 3-point shooting season, I think it was an aberration because they don't care to play defense as much in the regular season that they do in the postseason. So he was able to get off some of these shots with not as much pressure as he would be in the postseason. You saw in the postseason, he put forth the same level of volume shooting wise, but the efficiency plummeted. And that's not a coincidence. And it's going to continue to happen until they get that shooter or two. They can be able to come in and space the ball. And also, we didn't talk about this last episode, but a big reason of why he dropped off, why Donovan Mitchell's efficiency dropped off also is because his crime partner played so terribly in the postseason in Darius Garland. I gave him a slide because I was the one that chose Darius Garland to be still in the top 10. I think he was in the top 10.
I think he was 10.
He
had a 10. I had him at 11.
Yeah. So I gave him a slide, but Darius Garland is also on watch as well because the postseason he just put forward, you're playing along with Donovan Mitchell, which Donovan Mitchell, no matter how you feel about him, he is that good of a player. You're going to be in the playoffs regardless. right? Especially with this team that's this good defensively. He's good enough in the regular season to be able to get you in the postseason. So you don't got to worry about that. But once we get there, I've been one that was very high on Darius Garland offensively because I think as a great playmaker, I thought he was a great playmaker or a good playmaker, good to great playmaker. And as a scorer, I thought he had a lot that could be able to, he could be able to showcase from his floater game to his sneaky athleticism to get around the rim, to even his shot creation. I thought that he had a lot to be able to show. And so to see the way he played or didn't play against the New York Knicks, who I thought he was going to torch. I'm not gonna lie to you. This season, he's on the watch, and if he puts forth another postseason like production that way that he did this season, he gonna slide down too. Donovan Mitchell ain't gonna be.
I honestly didn't think he was gonna whoop the Knicks.
I thought he was going to torch the Knicks because I thought that all the attention was going to be on Donovan Mitchell. It was going to be Darius Garland's time to produce, which in my suspicion was correct because the attention was all on Donovan Mitchell. Just Darius Garland failed to convert the attempts that he put forward. Like, tell me if I'm lying. Y'all, I know y'all watched the series. Tell me if I'm lying. Did Darius Garland really get contested the way that Donovan Mitchell was being contested?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't at all. They definitely were focused more on Donovan Mitchell, and they really looked at Darius Garland like, okay, well, he's not going to do anything, so we're not worried about him.
Especially, and then the tough part is it started from game one. Game one, they didn't give the attention to Darius Garland. Darius Garland didn't convert. Game two, they give him attention. They give him less attention, and he converts, and then from there on out. Nothing. That's it.
I just think during that series, the Knicks had the better team in general.
I thought the Cleveland Cavaliers had the better team. So, hence why Utah might be actually better than Cleveland. Not now, but Donovan Mitchell on Utah Jazz back then is maybe better than the Donovan Mitchell Cleveland Cavaliers. Just saying. But all right, we're gonna move on. Daryl, it's on you.
Me next.
We're at number 5.
Yep, number 5.
Number 5. So number 5 for shooting guards.
Mm-hmm.
We already said 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you the 4. So number 1 was D-Book. Number 2 was Anthony Edwards. Number 3 was SGA. Number 4 was D-Mitch.
5, Luka.
Luka is not a 2
He's
guard.
trolling. He's trolling.
Is he? Was he? I ain't gonna lie to you.
I was trolling on that one because I went to see Justin's response.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I wouldn't even focus on you, boy.
Nah, 5 for this upcoming season. I have Jaylen Brown.
Okay. No.
That's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick.
Jaylen Brown. Okay. Sure.
I have Jaylen Brown. Although yes, y'all know how much I hate Boston. I just genuinely believe he is just that.
That's another player I think is better than Anthony Edwards, but.
Oh my gosh! Here you go. You're not going to let this go now, are you?
Better than Jaylen. But Karen.
I just think Jaylen Brown. I will say his playoff performance was very predictable to Miami. Like we saw what he's capable of doing, and in the future, he has a bright future, obviously. But the one thing I noticed, and I know Justin, I had texted you and Rodney about it during the playoffs, that Miami picked up on, that I saw watching film, and that was he goes to the right like 80-90% of the time when he
99%.
Okay, 99%. 99% of the time. I was trying to be generous, but he puts the ball on the floor and goes right 99% of the time. And which is why I think it made it easy for Miami to defend Boston, because it was like, we already know where he wants to go. So if we cut him off from where he wants to go, he can't go left. So all we expect him to do is pass or just shoot. And that's obviously what happened to Boston and why they ended up losing that series. But I think if he develops going to his left more and better with playmaking and being able to go on both sides to score, I think he can definitely be a top five. As like I just said, for number 5, I feel like he can't live up to that because he is a great shooter. His mid range obviously is tremendous. Like I said, great shooting, but 3-point shooting, I think he can develop a little more. But as far as like a mid range shooter, he's great. Free throws, he's good. Probably want to see him go to the free throw line a little bit more. But other than that, that's all I got right now.
All right. I'm not mad. I'm honestly not mad at Jaylen Brown being there.
I'll add on a little bit to what he was saying. Jaylen Brown, quite as kept, one of the best transition players in the league. Really good at attacking.
Finishing wise, how good is he?
Finishing wise, I don't think he's like hyper elite. I think he's actually quite average for a guard. I'll check Jaylen Brown. I can only see the 0 to 3 free. I don't actually see the at the rim. If you can find that, then go find it. Okay. But from 0 to 3 free, he's actually quite efficient. He's 73.7% in the regular season.
Okay. Yeah,
that's quite efficient for a guard. Yeah. So, in the regular season, he's also quite efficient attacking the rim. Jaylen Brown, one of his greatest strengths is he's actually one of the better mid-range shooters in the league as well. He gets to when he's able to get to his spot, and he's able to rise over. He's actually a great tough shot maker as well when it's needed. One of his weaknesses is though he doesn't really feel comfortable driving to the left. His handle is quite weak, so he's prone to being stripped or losing the ball when driving through traffic. He also has an issue with playmaking. That is the other problem. His playmaking isn't the best. Routinely misses cuts, routinely can't play make out a double team. And then as a defender, this has been essentially stressed out if you've been aware of Jaylen Brown. A great on-ball defender. Off-ball, he's unaware, prone to back cuts, prone to, missing defensive assignments. That's what I would say for Jaylen Brown. All right, so we've done 5, right?
Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, SGA, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I think this is around the time that I think we should say Paul George.
I like that.
I actually personally would have Paul George a bit high. Let's go above Jaylen Brown. Paul George. This is the prototypical. Well, he usually plays small forward, but this year, ever since he's gone to the Clippers, he's been a shooting guard. He's the prototypical, like what you want in a star player. He's able to play on and off ball at elite levels. His off-ball playmaking, his off-ball is amazing due to him being one of the better three-point shooters in the league. His on-ball creation, because of his smooth handle, being able to get into his shot at multiple different ways. Him being able to attack the rim. When he was attacking the rim this season, I'm pretty sure he was quite efficient as well. Paul George, let me check for you. Paul George attacking the rim this season on 0 to 3 feet. He had attacked. He had gone to. Let's see, where is it? I'm blanking. Essentially 70% at the rim, 0 to 3 feet. So he's quite efficient attacking the rim. We all know Paul George to be one of the better mid-range shooters in the league. 3 to 10 feet, he's shooting 55%. Like he's just consistently being one of the better mid-range shooters. and he's also been one of the better 3-point shooters. One thing Paul George has an issue to do is, like I talked about it a little bit earlier, he has an issue of relying on the mid-range a bit too much and not attacking the rim. Because when he's able to attack the rim, he's able to display another thing that Paul George is actually good at, which is playmaking. Paul George isn't a great playmaker. He's not a elite playmaker, but he's good. He's good enough that he can punish switches and punish when he's attacking the rim and they load up on him. He's able to playmake out of that type of stuff, driving kicks. So Paul George, to summarize, he can attack the rim at a really good level. His mid-range is classified as one of the elites. He's a great 3-point shooter off and on the ball. His playmaking is decent. And although his defense is not to the level that it was in 2019, 2020, and 2021, he's still a good defender. That's what I would say. And that's why I have Paul George at number 6. So number 7.
I'm not mad at that at all. To be honest with you, I think yet another player I'll put up, Anthony Edwards. We ain't gonna talk about that. All right. This person that I'm gonna put here, I'm gonna be honest with you. It took me for a shock thinking about it, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I honestly don't think Bradley Beal should be ahead of him. So I'm gonna go with CJ McCollum. I don't think Bradley Beal should be ahead of him.
No, I think Bradley Beal, put Bradley Beal in that. I know that's a bad thing, or put this player into it, but I think Bradley Beal would have done his job better, because Bradley Beal, it may not be as efficient. Actually, I don't even know who's the better 3-point shooter. Did you even know?
CJ McCollum.
Okay, so even if CJ McCollum is the better 3-point shooter, Bradley Beal is the better 1 defender, 2 playmaker, 3 attacking the rim as well, and being at least comparable as a mid-range shooter. I don't know, man. I think
CJ McCollum's a better playmaker than him, though.
I think it's a mid-off, to be fair. And I still think his rim finishing is way more valuable for that team. Right? While he's also still you have to close out on his 3-point shots, because he's still efficient, not to the CJ level, but he's still efficient as a 3-point shooter.
And that's fine to say that. That's fine to say that as well. My whole issue is that one, we haven't got to see Bradley Beal truly for the last 2 years. And then the last time we did see him, he was shot chucking a lot. He was fair enough to him. He did shoot a higher percentage than CJ McCollum this year. I believe he shot 50%, which is 7% higher than CJ. So
and that's with injuries.
He played 50 games, so But I think Bradley Beal is as much of a better all-around scorer than CJ is. I believe he is. I think CJ offers more playmaking wise. He creates.
For a second.
Say it again.
For a second. I just want to say that this guy is shooting 0 to 3 feet, essentially 79%. That is insane. That's insane.
You talking about Bradley, right?
Yes. Essentially around the rim area, he's shooting 79%. That is a whole 16% more than CJ. But yeah, Kyler.
Yeah, he's a better finisher. I think he's a better all around scorer than CJ. I think CJ is a better playmaker. Regardless of their numbers, I think assist wise they're 5.7 to 5.4. So it's not that big a deal. But I think CJ creates a little bit better of advantages than Bradley Beal. Granted, it's mid-off. I think defensively, you're absolutely right. Bradley Beal may be better defensively.
Not maybe. He's significantly better. Yes, because Bradley Beal is at least a decent.
It's comparing a mid to a
mid. A liability. CJ is a liability.
He's a liability.
CJ. The 6'1" guard that's having to play shooting guard.
6'1"? No. He ain't 6'1". Right. He is not 6'1". He 6'3".
CJ?
Yeah, CJ 6'3".
He is 6'3". Sorry, my bad.
He just took 2 inches away from him.
That's a very paused moment, by the way. But
Nah, but
Oh my gosh, yeah, he got you.
oh, he did. Man, that's crazy. My fault. Pause.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, I think, and regardless of what Bradley Beal probably can do, I'm going off of what CJ McCollum has done, specifically since being with the Pelicans. You can say what you want about what Bradley Beal is better than CJ doing, but CJ has actually had one, he had better durability. Two, since he's been on the New Orleans Pelicans, as a creator, understanding that he is a mid creator as is, he's been able to maximize the best case scenario for the situation that the Pelicans in, and that situation being that he is the only surefire creator that they truly have. Unless you want to say Alvarado is
Brandon Ingram.
Anyway, unless you want to say,
are we just ignoring that was called the playoffs against the Suns like 2 seasons ago?
Yes, I'm ignoring that.
Yes, he's ignoring it.
Wow.
I'm ignoring that because I think the Suns, truth be told, I think they truly just slept at the wheel against them niggas. They didn't really care. But when it comes to CJ McCollum, I think giving the tools at some, although sometimes we do most of the time we deal with situations, we look at the player and the player that's more talented than the other, that has more tools in the bag, that they are better than such and such. I think in this case, I think the player that has less tools in the bag but utilize those tools to the best of their ability, I think that player trumps the player. And in one single phrase, talent. What is it? Hard work beat talent when talent fails to work hard. Yeah. I think that's the case here.
That's KD's.
That's also KD's case. Yes, Daryl, you with me? You're with me. Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah. So I got CJ McCollum there.
You said my go?
Yeah, it's your turn, bro.
I think we're on 9, right?
We're Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, SGA, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, CJ McCollum. We're on 8.
8, cool.
Shooting guards.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8. You know what? Even though he did piss me off this past season, I'm actually expecting to see a better season from him this year with his new squad. I got Bradley Beal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. We already essentially talked about Bradley Beal.
We just literally talked about it.
Yeah, so that's cool.
One of the better rim finishers in the league. Still decent in the mid range.
And then Zeno goes ahead and rehashes over it.
I just want to get it up as fast as possible. One of the best mid ranges. That's cool. One of the best rim finishers in the league as a guard. Still one of the best mid range. Still has a decent mid ranger. Decent to good-ish playmaker. A decent defender, and his 3-point shooting isn't that bad either. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we're at
9 now.
Now we're on like these mid shooting.
Yeah, this is really a mid off at this point. Yeah.
1 second.
No, you good.
You see, because I kind of want to put this shooting guard up here right now, but I don't know, because I feel like this shooting guard, either if he gets traded, I can see him skyrocket. But
if you don't
I know you guys are going to put the other shooting guard behind it, so it's fine. Okay. I have Anthony Simons at number 9.
Okay.
Am I missing any? I might be missing any, right?
You're missing. I think you're missing one, though. He did play small forward this year, so.
Then who's the small forward you're talking about then?
Klay Thompson.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about him.
No. Okay.
I would have still taken Anthony over him.
This year, yeah.
The thing is with Anthony Simons, he's quietly becoming one of the most one of the biggest micros. What?
Oh, that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, Anthony Simons.
No. Not Anthony Simons. No, the guy that you were thinking that I was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you think? Who was you gonna say?
Well, after Anthony Simon, since you didn't pick him up, I'm picking Zach LaVine.
Oh no, I was thinking you was gonna talk about Jordan Poole. I completely forgot about Zach LaVine. But yeah, I still will take Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons, quite as kept, has become one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Being able to create from behind the arc, being able to curl off of screens. He's quietly become one of the most aggressive 3-point shooters in the league. He's shooting 37.7% on 9 attempts, which is a drop off when it comes to efficiency wise from last year, which was 40.5% on 7 attempts. But he's ramped up his shooting to 9.1 attempts. He's essentially taking, if I'm correct, he's taking more than half of his shots from the 3-point line at this point of time. So Anthony Simons is becoming, quite as kept, one of the most prolific 3-point shooters in our league right now. He is becoming really, and I've started to really watch Anthony Simons and the way he gets his shots off. I genuinely think that he can progress to become one of the even better as a 3-point shooter. Due to really and truly, I still think he can work more on his off ball. I think he still can work on his shot creation behind the 3-point line as well. And I think he actually has a way where he can actually be a good rim finisher because he's actually quite quick as a guard. He's also quite he has the bounce for it as well, so he can actually evade defenders and go kind of do a Kyrie thing where Kyrie tries to not take contact and just try and lay up around defenders, right, rather than going through their body sometimes. But for the most part, I just really want to stress that he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. This year doesn't really show that because he had somewhat of a down year, but his 3-point shooting, it was amazing this year. And that's my main reason. Defensively, horrible. Playmaking-wise, he's quite average. But I think...
Average?
I think he's average. Yeah, he's not that good.
He's a bad playmaker.
He's not a bad playmaker.
He's bad, bro. Relax, buddy. Relax, buddy.
Stop. You're
all right, if Zach LaVine is a bad playmaker, he's a bad.
I think Zach LaVine is the average. Bad playmaker means that you're actively hurting your team.
I think he hurts his team when he's a
think he does. I genuinely don't think.
I think if you look for him to do anything other than shoot the ball, he is going to hurt you. Do you know that for as many times that he turned over the ball, many times he got an assist, he turned over the ball half that many times?
Oh, okay.
Like he averaged 4.1 assists. Do you mean turnovers he averaged?
How much?
2.1. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so
what does that have to do?
Okay, the more you give him the ball to create for others.
Turnover ratio.
The less he's say it again.
Is that not a 2 assist to turnover ratio?
Okay, so he averages 2 assists, and that makes him an average playmaker.
I'm not saying that makes him an average playmaker. I'm saying that's not like it's horrid.
That's.
You think
no. You know what? You're right. Jordan Poole's playmaking is horrible. His playmaking is bad. You're right. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I'm so confused what's going on here because I think Jordan Poole.
You think Jordan Poole is an average playmaker?
I think his is like bordering onto horrible. I would say yes, his is bordering onto.
Oh no! Jordan Poole's playmaking is horrible. There's no dancing around.
If you want to say that, sure. But I don't think Anthony Simons is bad. I think it's average.
I think his playmaking is bad. But I also, fair enough. I think the guy that I was going to pick above, that I would pick to go above him. But since you picked him, I'll pick Zach LaVine. I think Zach LaVine is a bad playmaker as well. I think he's a bad playmaker. I think he's an average defender. And I think scoring wise, he does like leave a lot to be desired. Even though he gets given these ridiculous amount of attempts to be the guy on a team. And this is the problem that we're going to be dealing with for like the rest of the guys down the list, which we really need to hurry up and wrap up. When it comes to players like Zach LaVine, Anthony Simons, Klay Thompson, Whoever else you could really think of, to be honest with Desmond Bain. Those players, these players are players that you would not want to be the guy on the team, but they're giving the keys as if they are the guy for whatever the reason is.
They ain't giving the keys to Eric Bain.
I mean, well, this past season, especially given the Ja Morant drama, Desmond Bain was given the offensive keys to do a lot of the work that Ja would be able to do.
Actually, if I had the chance to, I'd go back and put Desmond Bain over Anthony. To be honest with you, but Kyrie.
Oh no, I agree. But again, I'm just saying this for the audience so that they understand that. Truth be told, the players that were listening, they could really trump anybody. They could trump each other any day of the week, because like that. I
think that Desmond Bain is there's a gap with Desmond Bain, and then like everybody else that we're going to be talking on is below Desmond Bain. I think it really stops at.
I think Desmond Bain. I think that there could be a case between Desmond Bain, Zach LaVine.
That's what I say. Those two. And I think Anthony Simons goes below that, and then everybody else is in that tier. If you get what I'm saying,
that's fair enough.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. But yeah, I'm getting Zach LaVine. Yeah. I'm picking up Zach LaVine, and like I just listed, like all of this stuff that I'll be listing, like he's just mid at. So like, he's a good scorer, to great scorer on given seasons. But after that, like he leaves a lot to be desired everywhere else. So, Daryl, your turn.
All right.
I literally just gave you one too.
You already said Zach LaVine.
No, before I said Zach LaVine. I also said, should I say it again, Zeno?
Yeah.
Desmond Bain.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Tyler Hero, but
nah, I think Desmond Bain is significantly better than Tyler Hero.
Significantly better. But this is your pick. Hell, you could pick DeJounte Murray if you want to.
We already put him on the point guard list there.
Oh yeah, that is true.
He's
but he wasn't here for that. He wasn't here for that. So he would have an out.
That's true.
Yeah, but
what we at now?
Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You might as well number them.
You're right. You're right. All right. This is your 11th. This is the 11th pick on Daryl. What you got, Daryl?
On me?
Yep. You. 11th pick. Who you got?
I already said Tyler Hero. I just genuinely believe.
Yeah, he's sticking on that. All right, bro.
He was hurt the majority of this season, so we didn't really get to see much of what I believe we can see.
Okay, let me ask you this, Daryl. From what you did see from him, what does he bring to the game that puts him like at this position? What does he do? What is his game to you?
We saw it these playoffs with him being added as an extra scorer.
He didn't play this playoffs, Daryl.
I'm saying we saw it in the finals how it affected Miami against Denver with his ability to score. That's what they were missing. Because we all knew, including Denver knew as well, Jimmy Butler can't do it all alone. But with Tyler Hero being that second best scorer on the team, that truly would have definitely changed. It's not going to change the outcome of Denver winning the series, but it definitely would have put a little bit more pressure on them.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Tyler Hero's playmaking would have been a detriment too then? Because do you believe that Tyler Hero's scoring could outweigh his negative on defense, and him not being particularly a good playmaker, so that they can key in on him when he's trying to score?
That's good because that's actually a good question. I mean, the thing to me is like, yeah, Tyler Hero, he would have never been the best defender in that finals. Like, let's be honest, he would have been a liability on defense, not being able to keep up with the opposing teams. But I just think from an offensive standpoint, he helps Miami out defensively. He needs help for sure. I think that's an area he needs to work on. He's able to create his own shot. We've already seen that he's able to create his own shot and get any shot that he wants to. But the problem with him is just, playmaking, be able to playmake for others to get open, and defensively is just the biggest one for me for him. He's just got to work on the defensive end. We already know y'all both don't agree with it, but go ahead.
No. I mean, we're sort of strong on time, so I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
dead.
Okay, so next one is Desmond Bane. It's been spoken about a little bit earlier. Desmond Bane is also one of the best 3-point shooters in the league as well. Desmond Bane this year actually worked on his shot creation, which is very surprising because I think most people just thought he was going to be essentially another Klay Thompson type, being a good defender and one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He actually worked on his shot creation. It showed in the playoffs. It wasn't the greatest, I want to say, after the first game, but he was still showing that he had strides in shot creation. And his defense has actually progressed as well. I think his 3-point shooting also has progressed. So I actually think he's going better. And I think maybe next season he might actually have the ability to start attacking the top 5 when it comes to shooting guards. Next.
All right, I'm going to put Buddy Hield here. I think.
Oh, I actually like this.
Yeah, I think Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield is an interesting pick because before last year, I didn't really give too much of a thought to Buddy Hield. But this past season, the shooting percentage that he was shooting, like, bro was shooting lights out for, like, I want to say the last 2 months of the season. I'm talking like 83% here, 45% the next, 60%, albeit on high volume from the 3-point line. And he was doing it rather consistently. And then I went and looked at bro's stats, and he's really, really good at shooting at a high clip. He ain't good at much else. I think he's a bad finisher. I think playmaking wise, he leaves a lot to be desired there. If I think that Anthony Simon's a bad playmaker, I think he's a horrendous playmaker. I think rebounding wise, I think he doesn't bring much to the table. And now when he's a solid for his size, I mean, he's only 6'3". But his true calling is from the 3-point line, and we're talking about somebody that he's really putting like a portfolio that he could really put up against anybody's. And it could go down as like one of the better 3-point shooters. One of the better 3-point seasons.
I'm not gonna argue any more than that. I'm just gonna say, you don't think he's better? You don't think Kevin Huerter has an argument to be here?
Hell no. But
really?
That's fraud.
Really?
Did you not see him in the postseason?
In the postseason, yes, I understand that. But you're telling me in the regular season he wasn't putting on the.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, yeah. Well,
do you also believe that it's kind of on like I've had this conversation with certain people. I'm gonna say this very quickly so we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's kind of unfair that certain players are able to be left off? What's called able to rise in certain people's rankings because you don't actually see them in the playoffs compared to other players that we see them in the playoffs and we see what happens to them, so we rank them lower because of the evidence of the playoffs. So in this context, we have Buddy Hield who didn't reach the playoffs.
Well, okay. I think you may have a point there that it could be unfair to put Buddy Hield over Kevin Huerter because of how horrendous Kevin Huerter was in the playoffs opposed to him in the regular season. Unless I was able to tell you that Kevin Huerter was actually showing signs of his spottiness from the 3-point line during the regular season, specifically towards the end of the season. It wasn't just a coincidence that he was playing horrendous basketball in the playoffs. He was doing that like towards the end of the season, like it was leading up to it, like it was festering. So like it wasn't like bro was just like he was awesome in the regular season, and then in the postseason he just dropped off like completely like out of nowhere. Like no, like if you look at, I want to say, I forget what month it was, he was struggling from the 3-point line, and then he snapped back into it.
All right, feel you. Okay, next.
Yeah.
What number on now?
Yeah. So Buddy Hield was 13. So we got 14 and 15. Daryl, it's on you.
We got 14 and 15 left.
Yep.
Yeah. You got 14. He got 15.
Where did you wait? Did we have Tyler Hero yet?
Yeah, I said Tyler Hero.
Oh, okay.
All right, Kevin Huerter.
All right, no problems. We already spoke about him.
Yep.
Great 3-point shooter. Actually, nice attacking the rim. It's not like the greatest efficiency or anything like that, but he has that opportunity to do so. He's mid to kind of bad on defense. Doesn't have much playmaking chops himself. Yeah, and well, kind of had a really bad showing in the playoffs. So for me now, I guess at 15, I kind of feel bad saying this, but Jordan Poole really had a low season ever since he became Jordan Poole.
Time out. Also, it was the month of February. It was the month leading into and after All-Star break. Kevin Huerter shot 33%, then 14%, then 28%, then 28%, then 16%, then 0%. Then he had 42, 44%. Then he had 33% and 42%, and 0% and 33%. Okay.
All right, cool. So Jordan Poole had a career low, not career low, but he had a low ever since he became Jordan Poole in 3-point shooting.
Ever since he became Jordan Poole is crazy.
Became zero. So
yeah.
The last 2 seasons, the last 3-ish seasons. So his 3-point shooting has dropped to 33.6% on 7.8 attempts. His free throw shooting dropped by like 5%. Granted, he's taken like almost 2 more. And he's shooting 20.4 points on 57% true shooting, which is like -2 league efficiency. Essentially, he's an inefficient 20-point per game scorer. Essentially, is what you need to know. His playmaking is not that good. It's really not that good. His defense is even worse than his playmaking. He is literally routinely being lost on switches, routinely kind of fight over the screens, routinely getting blown by. Not really strong athlete, so he can just get bodied as well when he's attacking the rim.
He's an ineffective rebounder.
Yeah. He's bad defensively. Else called a rebounder wise. Yeah, he's just really bad on that end, and he just had a low season this year. That's why I think for this season, Jordan Poole rounds out our top 15 shooting guards at number 15.
Yeah. Still better than Klay though. I know.
Jordan Poole.
All right, guys.
Jordan Poole about to be averaging like 20 plus here in Washington because it's just literally about to be him and Kuzma.
That boy's gonna average the most inefficient 25 a game I've ever seen. Anyway, all right. So we're moving on to the the time of the episode where we get to talking about the verses. It's actually supposed to be 30 minutes before, but hey, we had fun talking about the top 15. That was actually like some really good basketball talk right there.
Please.
Also, just want to throw a side note. One of these days, we're gonna really have to have a talk about Anthony Simons against Zach LaVine because I really want to get you to understand that Zach LaVine is actually better than Anthony Simons right now. But anyway,
I said that. I actually said I would give you the it was called the Zach LaVine over Anthony Simons.
I thought you said you disagree.
No, I said I walked back on it.
No.
I literally said I walked back on it. I said if I had a choice, I would put Desmond Bane and Zach LaVine over him. That's what I said.
Okay. Yeah. Still one hell of a player though. All right, so we're going to versus where we're going to be talking about CP3.
I was gonna say I think we should just move on to. Are we not cutting it close now?
Well, I mean, we can really cut this down to like 5 minutes. We already talked about this in the group chat, so we could really just give the reason why you think that Steve Nash is better, and then
all right, you got one of you start first. I go second, and the other go.
Yeah, Daryl, go ahead and shoot yours on why CP3 is better than Steve Nash, and then I'll double back, and then Zeno say his, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I went ahead. I believe CP3 is better than Steve Nash. Reason why I've said that is like he honestly is one of those guards that makes your team better. Like, I'm not saying Steve Nash didn't do that for when he went to Dallas, and of course for his time in Phoenix, and then when he went to Dallas for a couple of seasons, and then let's not talk about the LA year. But one thing I've noticed with Chris Paul is,
LA fans, man, carry on.
Yeah, I said let's not talk about that LA season, but Chris Paul, what I've noticed with him, even though I wasn't usually a big fan of his personally, is that he can score when it's needed to, just like Steve Nash, but I feel like he's a more efficient scorer, and his playmaking ability, I feel like it's a lot better. I don't know if it's because he's a bigger guard than Steve Nash is, so he can be able to see over top. Because Steve Nash, we know he had that ability where he would literally dribble in the paint in circles and make the defense basically run till he found the open like guy or the open layup. Excuse me. But and also too, CP3, he did end up taking Phoenix to the finals his first year there with them, whereas Steve Nash, when he was in Phoenix, the closest they ever got was the Western Conference Finals before they got knocked out by Kobe.
To piggyback, because basically Daryl just listed off team success. I'll tell you that I think production wise, I think Chris Paul may not be as good of a playmaker as Steve Nash, which if we're talking from the point guard position, I think that would give you the case to say that Steve Nash is the better point guard. But as a player, I think Chris Paul is far superior defensively. I don't think that is a question. Specifically, in his years in New Orleans, he put forth some of the best defensive, like from a guard standpoint, some of the best defensive seasons that you have ever seen from a point guard. Let alone a 6-foot point guard, whereas Steve Nash is 6'3", he's left a lot to be desired on the defensive end. And sure enough, playmaking wise, as I stated, amazing, phenomenal. And even from a scoring standpoint, although his volume is not exactly what you would like in the postseason when it ramped up and you needed him to, he was able to put forth. But I can also make the case for Chris Paul that he did the same. And also from a playmaking standpoint, he also did that too. And you may want to make the argument that Steve Nash was taking on higher leverage responsibilities because there was like a few seasons where he was without, and he was still able to still be able to be that great of a playmaker. But again, also Chris Paul was able to do that as well. And from the scoring standpoint, I would say that Chris Paul from regular season on to playoff still remained consistently the same efficient player that he was always during the regular season. So I put that together and mix that in with the fact that, again, defensively, it's not a question who's better. And I think Chris Paul got it.
All right. Okay, so for me, I'm clearly, as you can tell, they're on the side of CP3, and I'm on the side of Steve Nash. Okay, so for me, I just want to specifically make this very clear. Steve Nash is the better offensive player between both of them, and I think there's a sizable gap. The reason why I have to say this and I need to stress this out is because Steve Nash's playmaking, which is what, firstly, one, that is what Chris Paul's like main attribute when you bring him into these conversations of top 5 point guards, is his playmaking. Steve Nash is the clear better playmaker, as Daryl explained earlier. His ability to move around, force the defenses to focus on him, and him being able to create 3-point shots or layups, or just to kick it to the open man. He's like one of the best offensive engines that the league has ever seen, posting one of the best offensive ratings in the playoffs that we've ever seen when it comes to each generation, or sorry, each era. And then the other thing is, you could maybe say, oh, okay, Steve Nash doesn't shoot as much and he's quite passive. Well, he has shown in multiple seasons that when you need him to score and you need him to be aggressive, he is completely fine with doing so. A easy one, and a very one I was even searching up while you guys were talking, was in the Maverick series, because I do remember talking about remember seeing this. Yeah, Steve Nash. Could you guys guess what Steve Nash was scored? How many points he scored throughout that 6-game series?
Against the Mavericks?
Yes.
Wasn't he averaging like 30 against them?
Yes, he averaged 30 on 55% shooting from the field and 41% from free. Steve Nash, when needed, when you need him to actually ramp up his scoring aggression, he can ramp up his scoring aggression to become one of the most terrifying, efficient scorers in the league. So Steve Nash does not have any clear weaknesses on the scoring at the sides of the floor, because he's a great 3-point shooter. He's great in the mid-range. He can find his way to the rim. He can do pretty much everything you want as a scorer. He's also one of the best playmakers and passers that we've ever seen. The only issue for Steve Nash, and what you would probably give the CP3 edge to, is his defense. But I personally am lower on CP3 defense, not because of his actual play. It's more of the position he plays. I think as a guard, being a guard defender is way less valuable to a whole team structure compared to being a wing or being a big, because they have more defensive assignments and what's what I'm looking for? No assignments, way more responsibilities on the defensive end compared to the guard. That is my reasoning, and that is why I think Steve Nash is better, simply because of the fact that the upside that CP3 has over Nash, I think that upside being defense is actually valued less because of his position. And I think Steve Nash being able to essentially solo elsewhere, other than while even when that 1 year that he lost Stoudemire due to, I think, breaking his hand, still being able to create one of the best offenses in the league still without your best scorer on your team. I don't think I would ever think CP3 could do something like that. And that's my reasoning. I think Steve Nash is just that great.
I'll just say this, and then we'll skip past it. I think Chris Paul can do it, because I have seen Chris Paul be able to do it against elite defensive competition while having worse talent on his hip. If you remember in the 2011 postseason, albeit it was only one round, but it was a 7-game series, if I remember. It was like 7 or 6 games against the Lakers. Chris Paul averaged 22, 11, and 6. No, 22, 6.7 rebounds and 11.5 assists. I'm looking at it now. It just loaded. He shot 54.5% from the field, 47.4 from the 3-point line, 79.6 from the free throw line. And this is also the season that David West left, who was supposed to be his crime partner. And Tyson Chandler had also left to go to Dallas Mavericks. So I think if there was ever a point guard that you could not say would not be able to replicate the production in some way, shape, or form that Steve Nash was able to, I think Chris Paul is the one, because I think he has the same capability playmaking wise. I think scoring wise, albeit not as efficient from the 3-point line. I think he's more efficient from the mid range. I think as a finisher, quiet as kept, I think that Chris Paul is there as well. And I think defensively, it's not a question. So we'll just have to we'll agree to disagree because we're short on time. But this next topic should not take that long. I guess I'm gonna put myself on the big screen because Daryl don't got his camera on.
I got it.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Zeno, you next week. I ain't gonna lie to you. You home.
I'm so confused.
I don't know why things acting like this.
I'm so confused.
What are you confused about?
He said I'm next for what?
Yeah, you next week.
All right, so here's my camera. Figured it out. So I'm gonna make it real quick, short. 10 since we got 10 minutes, we'll make it quick and sweet. So, guys, you know what we talking about? Like we talked about the past couple of episodes. A lot of y'all like to see the stats, the highlights, what goes on in the mid-season, the playoffs, postseason. But here we gonna talk about the off-season. Yes, off-season. So we get to talk about the buildup of what is there to come for the 23-24 season, for this NBA season. So, fellas, the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is our team today, and it's going to be a short topic because
very short, because I don't think there's really much to talk about.
Yeah,
there's not really much to talk about.
There's not much to talk about them.
Yeah. Daryl, you already on a roll. Go ahead and shoot us your thought process when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What's your thought process?
When it comes to Cleveland, I'm not going to say what I said about Chicago about them not having an identity, because they do have an identity. The thing is, I believe they need some shooting on the outside, to me personally. Like, they have people who can score. They have the bigs like Jared Allen who could defend the paint. They had Donovan Mitchell, who was an all-around player. But because of what the game has turned into today, they need some outside shooting. So on games where like they need to stretch the defense out more or so. It's like late, so I'm trying to process my thoughts while I'm talking right now. Excuse me. But I think they need some outside shooting, and I think that's the one thing they were missing this postseason.
All right, Zeno, what's your thought process?
Straight up, they just need to find a small forward. That's all. Like, they really need to find a small forward, and that's been their biggest kryptonite. Is either find a small forward, and they need some type of progression on the offensive end from Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is the key to this team. If Evan Mobley can develop a 3-point shot or develop a mid-range, something that spaces the floor, this team can be dangerous, because Evan Mobley is not quite as kept. People are starting to realize that Evan Mobley can actually go down as one of the best defensive players that we've seen. Because Evan Mobley right now, in his second year already, can be a decoy candidate, a decoy level defender. So with his defense right now, because really sit down and think about it when you watch Evan Mobley, what is his weakness on defense? Other than probably maybe screen navigation. What is his weakness?
I agree.
He's good. He's good at literally everything you want. Everything he's good at.
I agree.
He's already at the stage where he has no weaknesses on defense. He just needs to gain some type of go-to move, whether it's a floater, which is weird for a 7-footer to have a floater, but anyways, a floater, a mid-range, aggressively attacking the rim, something like that. But yeah, Karen, Daryl, yeah.
I said that was a wasted move to have a 7-footer develop a floater. That I don't believe in that.
I don't know about.
I disagree. I think more big men need to have floaters in their game, if not for anything, just to keep defense on. Do you know how more respectable Sacramento would have been, or how truth be told, how they could have beaten the Warriors had Sabonis just had a competent floater game? Or better yet, do you understand how many series could have been won despite the Utah Jazz's defensive lapses if Rudy Gobert had a floater game?
Well, I think I come to the side where, you have what all heads say, but there was one particular game back in the 90s that actually basically ruined the Knicks' chances of making the finals. And I'm talking about the play of Patrick Ewing, where he had, the chance to go ahead and win the game. And all he had to do with being 6'10", 6'11", was to just dunk the ball. But instead he goes for the George Gervin,
finger roll.
Yeah, finger roll.
That's a finger roll. We're talking about a floater.
But still, to me, that's the same. That's in the same family. So it's
not really.
No, it's not really. Not really. Do you understand that Shaquille O'Neal was not as potent offensively until he developed a floater that could be able to go range?
Not really a floater, but a hook. When he
he also had the floater game as well, because he was able to float from the mid-range, free throw line. Yeah, he was able to float. He was able to do a floater from the free throw line. Hakeem Olajuwon had a floater in his game, and we recognize him as one of the most innovative centers of all time. David Robinson had a floater game. There's plenty of centers that you could list off of.
Even Embiid has a floater game. Jokic has a floater game too.
Jokic has a floater game, and we recognize him as pretty soon going to be one of the greatest offensive weapons we have ever seen.
Embiid has a floater game.
Embiid has a floater game a little bit too much.
He's more mid range, but yeah.
But I'm saying all of this to say, Daryl, I get what you're saying from the standpoint of centers shouldn't be depending solely on floaters.
Get your ass to the rim, and
they shouldn't depend solely on it. But it definitely is nice to have the more weapons that you can master, the more dangerous of a player you are. And so it's like especially in Evan Mobley's case, we don't need. I think Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, from a creation and scoring standpoint, they can develop into a tandem that is far more respectable than any other of the other 1-2 punches that we have, especially in the Eastern Conference. You know what I'm saying? So if Evan Mobley can develop just a floater game, think of how much more dangerous that team becomes on the offensive end, where now not only do you have to watch for Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, but you also have to watch for Evan Mobley with that scary floater game, right? And then defensively, they are what they are defensively. I don't think anybody has any questions about their defensive, the defensive power. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the Eastern Conference, I think it's more so on the offense where suspect after Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. What do you got? What do you have? And that's the question. That's the question that the Cleveland Cavaliers have to answer. And I think I agree with both of y'all. I think the small forward spot is the sweet spot for them. They need to get a respectable small forward. I'm not as high as Max Strus as others are. I don't think that Max Strus is going to give them what they need. I think he'll be a respectable 3-point shooter, but defensively, I'm not too high on him. I think he was a merchant of Eric Spoelstra in his defense. I think he's going to get exposed, and I think somewhere down the line they're going to get so desperate that they're going to look for that rookie that they picked out of the second round. What's his name? Imani Bates. They're going to look for him to give them something off the bench, and he will from an offensive standpoint, but defensively, he's not going to give them nearly as much as they would hope for. And so that will be their downfall, them not getting a quality small forward. And quiet as kept, that is the case with most franchises. That's the case that holds them back. If you don't have a respectable small forward, you tend to fail. You can have everything you want, but small forwards are very, very high commodity, right behind centers. They're high commodities, and if you don't got one, you really at a loss.
Not centers, power forwards.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
centers are quite dime a dozen. You just need a run dunk.
I don't know about dime a dozen, but
it is because all you need is a run and dunk, man.
So you think DeAndre Jordan? You think DeAndre Jordan will still be a high commodity to any roster that needs?
Yes. I mean, a player like let's say not prime, even like a baby DeAndre Jordan, a Jordan that is actually athletic enough to do the pick and roll thing, a Jordan that's still a good rim protector, so a drop big that can do the run and dunk stuff. I think that's a high commodity in pretty much all teams.
Oh, so you're saying a prime DeAndre Jordan? Okay.
I said not even a prime. I said baby. Like essentially, what I'm saying.
So you're saying DeAndre Jordan right now?
I'm saying no, not now, because he's bad defensively.
So they have to be good defensively, right?
Yes. So what I'm saying is just need to be a good rim protector, so being a good drop big, while being a run and dunk merchant on the opposite side. That's a high commodity on most teams.
I don't think that's a high commodity because I don't think there's nearly enough centers that could be able to do that. Because you actually have to be good on the defensive end. But yeah, we all agree small forwards, shooting, and Evan Mobley development, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Oh! I didn't get to finish this part. I'm going to say this quickly because
go ahead. We can get a clip.
We might actually have to. Huh?
I said, yeah, we can get a clip.
We might actually have to. You might actually have to get rid of Darius Garland actually, because the issue is quite as kept. That backcourt is reminding you. If you guys have not realized this backcourt is reminding you of another small backcourt. Guess who?
John Wall and CJ McCollum? I mean, John Wall and Bradley Beal? Or Dame and CJ McCollum?
Yes.
Defensively, I can see it.
Exactly, yes.
I see it now.
That's the issue with them. And even offensively, they're still doing that my turn, your turn thing that it was called, that they were doing too. That's the issue. And that might be the downfall of that team. They may need to trade Darius Garland while he's in high commodity because of his
see, all right. The problem I see with that is the impact that tandem can have. Because we got to remember, this is just their first year.
I'm not saying now. I'm saying that they may need to look for it because
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if you find, because all right, the problem that Dame and CJ had was there was so many holes that you could be able to attack. When it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, specifically with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell at the helm, the only question we got is who else you got? That's it. So if you just get one respectable shooter or one respectable offensive player that's not a complete negative defensively, you're golden. Like I don't think that's.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now you're just asking Jarrett Allen and Mobley to backpack your defense. To be fair, they could probably do that.
They could probably do it though.
They probably could do it, but like when you get into like the top tiers of teams when it comes to the league, like where you get into like the Celtics.
Okay. Let me ask you.
Like you need
the Cavaliers got somebody. Okay, let me ask you guys this. All right, and Daryl, I want your opinion on this too. If the Cleveland Cavaliers got somebody that's let's say that Chris Middleton caliber at this point of his career, right?
I think that's well.
Would you put them? Where would you put them? Would you put them in the likes of the Celtics, 76ers, Bucks realm?
I would let's say give them Kyle Kuzma. I think if you give them Kyle Kuzma, that means they get another shot creator. They get someone who's actually good defensively. You get someone who's a mid playmaker. But that's
You don't need him to play make though.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to get onto. I was going to get onto the fact that you get another spacer who's actually good defensively, which also gives you a third route to as a shot creator, whether the guards are having a problem. At that point, I think that they get up to the 6th level of teams. I think they're a tier below the true contenders.
I think I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think if you get a player that's of the caliber that we're talking about, right, which is a fringe all-star caliber player, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's no reason to think that they're not better than the Bucks.
I disagree.
Yeah, because and I'm saying this as a Bucks fan. Giannis and Drew, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, they're getting old. And I'm not saying getting old from an age standpoint. I'm saying they're getting old from the standpoint of the routine is getting old. You're going to have to find something new.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have the recipe because they have the perimeter shooting, the potential perimeter shooting. They have the defensive versatility to be able to, I won't say contain, but they can be able to make it difficult for a Giannis. Brook Lopez is not the player that he once was. Right. So and Chris Middleton's not the player that he once was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, there's no reason to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers and say, nah, they're not of that ilk.
I don't think so. I think there would be still.
I think the only team that I think the only reason why I would say that. I think the only team that I think is outright better is the Celtics.
No, I think the reason why, and I want to specifically stress this out, when you get to the top tier teams, you need talent. And when I mean talent, I mean top tier talent. They do not have a top tier talent player.
Donovan Mitchell isn't top tier talent.
No.
I think
top tier talent to me is number 1 on championship level team. I think Celtics
okay. I see what you're saying.
Celtics is an exception because they're the most talented team in the league. So they're completely different in this conversation.
And you don't think Cleveland would be if they had a player that was at the caliber of Kyle Kuzma or Chris Middleton?
No.
Okay, I disagree. I think if you have a player that, like you said, is universally renowned as a player that at some point in his career he'll be regarded as one of the best defensive bigs we have ever seen.
Yes.
I think you have a player in Donovan Mitchell who is a perennial 25 point per game scorer. You have a player in Darius Garland who I would hope would get the playoff jitters off of him, and he would improve in the coming season. And then you would have a player that is an all-star, a fringe all-star caliber player, and whoever it is that they would get of a Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma caliber. And then we haven't even spoken about Jared Allen with how good he is defensively as far as rim protection. I don't see how you could look at that team and not say that is a top 5 talented team in the league.
My issue is backcourt defense. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
And when you sit down and you look at the Bucks, yes, it gets old, but you know what never gets old? Their top tier defense, one of the best stingiest defenses that we've seen.
But that stingiest offense is also
that offense can be very but I'm sorry, that defense is really good, and I really think it is. I think that the with the 2 guards being that bad defensively, I want to stress that Darius Garland is a horrible defender. I want to stress that Donovan Mitchell is also bad defensively. I don't think they will ever get to the stage where they could be one of the greatest defensive teams that we've seen over a long period of time, unless Evan Mobley takes a jump to where even I would be surprised, where he's like clearly the best defender in the league. And I don't think he's going to be that for
no, but I don't think he has to be clearly the best defensive player in the league for them to be.
I think he genuinely does. He genuinely will need to be when he has 2 defensive.
You must really be low on Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland.
Defense.
Yeah, defensively.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay. Because I'm looking at okay, yeah, no. All right, we're crunched on time, right? We went 9 minutes over for y'all. Anyway, Oh, go. You good, Daryl? You
Oh,
got
no,
anything
I'm
else you
good.
want to say? You got anything else you want to say?
Only thing left I gotta say is, to all my Jamaican brothers and
What
women
the
out there,
Yeah.
What the
Independence Day.
fuck?
It's Independence Day in Jamaica, so happy
Let's
Independence Day.
go.
But
Pandering is crazy.
Let's go.
The pandering is crazy.
Independence.
Yeah, nah.
Let's
Shout
go.
out to the Jamaicans that tapped in. If you
Thank
are
you.
Jamaican, 1% Jamaican, we accept. We don't hate. We don't discriminate. He has a Jamaican shirt on, but he's not
Jamaican too.
Jamaican.
Let's go.
Yeah. What he said. Happy Independence Day to y'all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we gonna tap out. We gonna tap out. All right. We're gonna check in with you guys later next week. Who we got next? Anybody know?
We did the Cavs today.
Yeah, I think I got the list right here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Next up is the Celtics. Actually, next up is the Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics.
Next up is the Celtics. So, stay tuned for that. I don't think that we're gonna take that long with that team either. I really think we got the teams that we really wanted to get in on. Pause. I think we got them out the way.
Yeah.
I think the only team that probably will go. I think the only team that we'll really be talking like a while about is probably the Lakers, the Clippers.
It's because Daryl. Yeah.
Yeah, because of Daryl. Lakers, the Clippers, the Rockets, the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the Grizzlies.
I want to. Can't wait. Actually, can we do the Grizzlies after next week? I actually have something to talk about them, man. Because I want to.
No. Can you wait? Can you hold on to that to your thought process about them? Because it's 2 more episodes, so we got 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have this in my mind that I just want to say to you guys, you guys are about to see.
All right. We're gonna check it. We're gonna check it.
Magic when it comes to that Grizzlies defense. Oh boy, yeah, Karen.
No. I'm with you.
Oh,
3 weeks.
I know where he's going with it.
3 weeks. We will give you 3 weeks. We'll give you. Matter of fact, no. We got to do 3 weeks because we're gonna be talking about the Clippers. It's the Celtics, then the Clippers, then the Grizzlies. So hold on to that thought, and we'll tap in with you guys later. All right. Peace.
Take care.
Peace.